You're halfway through a message. You hit a word that won't come. The exact one. The one that would land. And before the frustration even registers, your thumb has already moved to the other tab. You didn't decide to do that. There was a moment, a small one, where a thought was supposed to form. The reaching happened before the thinking. That gap you just skipped used to be where the thought lived. Here is the claim this whole thing rests on. The clearest sign that a mind is thinning in the age of AI is not that it gets answers wrong. It's that it stops being able to sit in not knowing long enough for an answer of its own to arrive. And that sign doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like speed. There's one tell underneath all the visible ones. The reaching, the blank stare at a cursor, the reflex to check an answer you already had. It hides inside the moment that feels most like winning. Hold on to it. It comes back. Psychologists have a plain name for the reach: cognitive offloading, handing a mental task to something outside your head so you don't have to carry it. It isn't new. In 2011, a Columbia researcher named Betsy Sparrow ran a series of experiments and found something quiet and strange. When people expected a computer to save a fact for them, they remembered the fact worse, but remembered where to find it better. Their minds had already begun treating the machine as part of themselves. They stopped storing the answer and started storing the directions. So the obvious story is that AI is just a faster search bar, a tool, and tools make you more capable. The evidence leans the other way. In 2025, a researcher named Michael Gerlich surveyed 666 people across every age group and found that the heaviest AI users scored the lowest on tests of critical thinking, with offloading as the mechanism driving the drop. The part most people skip past. It hit the young hardest, and formal education was one of the few things that buffered it. The people who felt most fluent were often losing the most, because the output stayed sharp, while the muscle behind it went quiet. A team at MIT's Media Lab put the same idea under an EEG. 54 people wrote essays, some with ChatGPT, some with a search engine, some with nothing at all. The ones leaning on the AI showed the lowest brain engagement of the three, and when they were later asked to write without it, they struggled. The researchers had a term for what builds up: cognitive debt. You feel efficient now. The bill arrives later, quietly, in a capacity you no longer notice you've stopped using. Think back to that word that wouldn't come. You'd have landed it, given 3 more seconds of your own. The machine's real gift is that you never have to find out. Sit with what that means. The pause you skip, those few uncomfortable seconds between hitting a gap and reaching for the answer, is not empty time. It's where your own thought would have formed. Not a better thought than the machine's. Yours. And a thought you never have is not a thought you can miss. It leaves no hole you can feel. So the question was never whether the answers on your screen are good. It's whether the mind that used to make them is still being asked to. If something finishes every thought before you begin it, at what point were you the one thinking? This is the ordinary shape of it. You reach before you try. You open a blank cursor and feel a flicker of panic. You check an answer you already knew, not because you doubt yourself, but because you want the machine to confirm you were right. 3 different behaviors. One thing underneath all 3. None of it looks like decline. All of it feels like keeping up. So here's the tell, finally named. And it isn't that you use AI. It's what happens in the half second before you do. You don't reach because you decided you needed help. You reach before you've given yourself the chance to have an answer at all. The thinking didn't fail. You interrupted it. And that interruption only fires in one exact moment. the pause between hitting a gap and grabbing the tool. It can't fire if you don't reach. So put something in the pause. One rule: when a question is small enough to attempt it first, badly in your head for 10 seconds before you open anything. Struggle first, verify second. Not for everything. The tool is genuinely useful. But that 10-second try is what keeps the muscle awake. You're not refusing the machine. You're refusing to hand it the part that was yours. So, you're halfway through a message. The word won't come. This time, your thumb stays still for 3 seconds, and you feel exactly how uncomfortable that is. That discomfort is the thinking. It was always the thinking. Let it finish before you reach.